Our Divi 5 design system has a new update specifically with the preset manager. Now, let me show you what it looks like. So if you downloaded this a few days ago, you would have noticed that this was our, and to be honest, it's not bad, but we managed to add a new features to it. And this is what it looks like. It's a bit more simplified and also it's more cohesive. But you see, the UI is not the major part of any software. It's about how it functions. And there's quite a few problems that we're having with this version. And now we've added a tag or a tab which says changelog. So over here, you will be able to see exactly what has been updated. So right now we are on version 2.0.1.0, and these are the sort of things that were added. A field name that shows default download name. So this was added. In fact, I'll be showing you how that works. Over here, there's a few things that were fixed as well. And this version in particular, version 07, and I had a lot of help from Frank. In fact, I used his version and then worked on top of that. So this is where our brand colors are reconstructed from Divi theme when missing from the stored global palette. This was a huge headache because, of course, this is the fundamental core of the reason why we need a preset manager, and this wasn't working. Also, the heading and body fonts are included in the reading theme options. They were not there, and this was the problem as well. So these were fixed, and in version 2.0.9, there were also a lot of things that were added and fixed as well. So we're getting very, very close to a really stable version of Crafter. Now, I'd also like to remind you that if you install Crafter, you need to make sure that you also have a backup of your website, especially if it's a production website, just in case. So let me show you the updates. So as I mentioned, this is the new UI. If I come over here to import, you can see now that it's simplified. If I drag and drop a file in here, for example, I can just do that. You can see as usual, our button here, you can see it's pulsing, ready for us to go in and click it. And we still have our replace and merge modes. So if I do a preview, you can see here, it's showing me all my colors, right? And of course, if I need to exclude these, I can now exclude them like that. Next, we also have the export tab. Now, this is a feature that I really, really like. Over here now, we are able to name this file. So let's say you're a design agency and you like to name your design system so you can share it, or perhaps maybe it has different versions, right? You can just name it over here because it will save all your presets and it will also save all your variables in one file. So I'm just going to call this new Mac design system, but of course it doesn't have to be this long. Okay, let's just call this, it says 2.0. Okay, or I can just call it Mac Design System 2.0, right? So if I do that and I say, okay, and then I scroll down, of course, here I can exclude what I don't want. And you can see here, I have a preview of all my colors for my design system. If I need to exclude any, I can just go in and exclude them. For example, there are a lot of colors here for these ones here. I do not want them. So I can just go in and remove them like this by unchecking them. But if you want a quick way to do it, you can just say none, and then you can just go in and select the ones that you want. And then you can just check mark them. Now, once that's done, if you scroll down here, there's also more options, but I'm going to say download design system, just like that. And now that is downloaded, and I'll show you where it is. So here it is. It's Mac Design System 2.0.json. So do you see how this now is a neat little feature which enables you to track what version of your design system is. And also when you share it, you can even specify what you have updated. So that is a good feature. Now, everything else seems okay. You know, we have the rollback feature here. We can roll back to previous versions or previous versions that worked. We also have our import changelog. We can come over here and see what has been added and what has been subtracted. So for example, here we have 56 items, and what was added were all these colors. So if I go all the way down here, you can see that these were modified, the heading and the body. And this, again, it just shows you that our heading import is now working. So if we exclude it, it gets, crossed out. Okay. Next, we have our reset. And now our reset, the UI is, it's changed a little bit as well. As you can see here, we can delete all our presets from here like that. If I say, okay, you can see my presets are all gone. And if I delete the variables, again, the variables are all gone. And my counter here is very accurate. Okay. Next, we also have the system. You can see it says Mac Design System here. And that's because our variables and preset file, they're all combined. So that is why it's showing that there. It's also showing the version number of my plugin as normal. We also have our links. Of course, that's self-explanatory. And here we have the getting started video. And of course, I mentioned the changelog. So far, so good. Now let's do a quick import so you can see how this is going to work. So I have a file. In fact, before I do that, I also like to mention that I am testing this on Hostinger. Now, Hostinger was giving us a lot of issues, and I noticed that a lot of people that were complaining were using Hostinger. So I'm using Hostinger, and I'm also using local WP. So hopefully these two platforms should cover all of the problems that we were having. All right, so with that out of the way, first of all, let's take a look and see what this design looks like. So if I take a quick look here, you can see because I deleted everything, there is nothing. So let's add a design system in here. Okay, so I am going to drag the Mac design system, which I just deleted. Okay, I'm going to drag and drop it here, and then I'm going to replace. But of course, if you merge or replace, it doesn't really matter because there's nothing there. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick preview, and I can see here that it's going to import our heading as Poppins and enter. Okay, I mean, everything else, for sake of time, I'm just going to leave that as it is, and then I'm going to confirm. So now that I've confirmed this, okay, if I go to this page, which has nothing on it. And by the way, when you design using Divi, this is what you get. It's clear, it's plain, there's nothing on it. So I'm going to do a quick refresh here. Okay, and then you can see now that this is now Poppins and my text has updated. Okay, just like that. All right. So as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, you know what? I also need perhaps maybe use someone else's design system and add it onto the platform. So I also have another file here, which is different to what we have. I'm going to drag and drop it here like that. And then I want to do a quick preview and see what we are importing. Okay, so this one here doesn't have much to import, and it's telling me here what it needs to be imported. So I'm going to cancel this, and let me try this one here, drag and drop it. Okay, I'm going to do a quick preview, and this one here has colors. Do you see that? So our manager here is going in, looking at all the colors and everything that's happening. Now, here's the thing. Over here, we have this DM serif display as the heading and the body. Now, if I want this to head over and get updated onto our website here, I am going to leave them checked. But if I don't, this will change. Okay, so you can see here our fonts are Poppins. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scroll all the way down and say confirm and import. And just like that, everything was imported. I mean, do you see how fast that is? This is super amazing. So now that I've imported, it's telling me here I've got 62 colors, 2 fonts, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to come over here and refresh. Now, do you see that my heading font here has what? Has been brought in from our design system. But if I was going to exclude it, then it was going to be excluded. Now let's try this one more time, because again, this was the issue that we're having before. So let's say, in fact, there's no need to merge because everything is on anyway. Right. Anyway, the thing that I wanted to mention here was, do you see that? It has brought in all these colors. Now it remembered these colors because I had used this before. So somehow it's in the memory of Divi, so it remembers the colors and how I applied them. Because when you take a look here, you'll notice that as soon as I go into edit with Divi and I click the background, we now have our design system over here. And if I go into the text, our design system is there. You see? So it is very, very powerful, very, very easy to use. Hopefully, this is a tool that you're going to be using professionally. And you're also going to be using this to make sure that your sites are consistent and you're sharing all these presets with other users as well, or part of your team, or even just backing it up for yourself. Imagine saving all this, and then being able to export it, make changes, and apply it on newer websites. This is a really powerful tool. Now, for those of you who are brand new here, head over to Divi University. This is our online community. And this community has more than 3,000 members, and there's a lot going on here. People are discussing over here in the community. There's a lot of feedback, especially, with our new craft design system here. So you can see a lot of people are here. They're talking about so many things, asking questions and so on. So head over there. It's free. But what's even more important here is there's a course called the Divi 5 Mastery. Now, this course has everything that you need to get up and running with Divi 5. So you can see here, it has everything that you need, exploring Divi 5 interface, sections, columns. We even go into getting started with the presets, because presets, like I mentioned earlier on, are the core of how Divi works. Divi before used to, in Divi 4, we just used to design with what was there. But now this is a completely page builder that was built from the ground up. It is completely different, and it has a new design workflow. And this is the workflow that you need to be successful with Divi 5. Anyway, guys, this version 2.0.1.0 is going to be available tomorrow. Okay, I just thought I'll just do a quick preview here and show you what is going on. This was our old interface. This is a new interface. Hopefully you will like this, because it's now simplified and it is much, much easier to use, or at least in my opinion. Thank you very much, guys, and let's speak tomorrow. Take care.